All right, everybody. We are here. We are ready to record the show. What's up, Lloyd?
Can you hear us?
Well, that was very kind of creepy a little bit. I didn't like that.
I could.
Good
Is that
God.
better? Or is that more or less creepy? I'm not sure.
You know what? Let us know. Let us know if that was more or less creepy. Because that was, I don't know. I'm divided on it. I'm divided. Spooky voice. We need some coins to wake us up. Hit the box, Lloyd.
Hit the box. Oh yeah.
The coin
where's
box.
There it is.
There we go.
I was I was on the wrong page. I was on the wrong page.
Yeah, we were just talking before we went live about the fact that we want to buy the Stream Deck, which is the bigger Stream Deck, but they're just too expensive. Elgato or Corsair, whatever you want to be called these days, make these things just a little bit cheaper, just a little bit.
Or sponsor the channel. Send each of us one of them, and we'll send you goodwill over the internet forever.
That's right.
That's a little loud.
Actually, that one doesn't bother me. I think it's, you know what? I think the coin one seems louder than everything else because it's high pitched.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I want to say real quick before we get started, thank you to Kevin Williamson, who, even though we weren't doing anything 2 days ago, became a new member. So I'm going to repeat their whatever that is, their alert. Thank you very much, Kevin. We appreciate it. All right, I'm going to shut off the music. Are you ready to make an MP3, Lloyd?
Let's do this.
All right, let's do this. All right, I'm recording. Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stadiacast. This is episode 56, or I don't even know what number it is anymore. This is 56, even though Lloyd and I did like a bonus episode in the middle of the week because we had a lot of crazy stuff going on. Before we get started, we record the show live Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern, so if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're listening to this after the fact, come to the Sunday shows. There's lots of people that come and hang out, and we have a lot of fun talking to everybody who's here. If you are here live and you want to support the show and you want to make sure that we see your message, use the super chat feature, just like Paulin just did it just a moment ago. You can use that super chat feature. We can make sure it highlights your message, and we can take all of those messages and we talk about the ideas that people had throughout the show at the end of the show. And I went right into my my normal thing, and I never said I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. Lloyd, that's you.
That's me.
That's
Lloyd.
That's me. That's me.
How's it going, Bill?
I can't complain. I got confused. I'm sorry. I screwed up the beginning.
It's all good.
Lloyd's looking for a new co-host, everybody.
No. This is too good of a show to look for another co-host.
That's
right. If anything, you have to replace me.
No, we can't do that either.
Because of my rabbit punch hat. It's too many people talking about it. I'm gonna have to change it up, I guess.
Everybody loves that hat. They do. It was such a weird hat. And if you're listening to the podcast and you're like, what is with Lloyd's hat that everybody loves so much? Go to the YouTube channel, check it out. You'll see it. You'll see it. This is episode 56. Anyway, like I was saying, if you're here live and you want to support the show, use the super chat feature and become a part of the show that way. And of course, if you're not here live, if you are watching after the fact, because people have things to do, they can't always come to the live shows. That's okay too. Use the join button to become a member. The members really do. The members are a big portion of the revenue that we generate from this show. So thank you very, very much for becoming members. And if you want to know more about what you can get from being a member, check out the join button right below the video. One thing that you can get is early access to some of our videos, which I've been doing some Let's Play stuff, and the members have been getting that stuff early. All right, Lloyd, are you ready to start the actual show?
I am. Just
Lloyd's
chatting in the chat room.
Lloyd gets distracted by chat so easily.
I do.
I've got too much to do when we're doing the show, so I can't look at chat very much. So it's good. It's good that one of us gets distracted by it. All right.
That's right.
Lloyd, what have you been playing this week?
Actually, a fair bit. I've continued to jump into Borderlands 3 every once in a while. That content continues to be just absolutely fantastic. I'm trying to get the last of the achievements for the new DLC that dropped. There's still some grinding I need to do to get that. But then I'm playing some new things, which we haven't talked about on the show before. Get Packed, played a little bit of that. Jumped into some multiplayer with you, Bill, and that's been a lot of fun. And then also, I started up last night. Yesterday afternoon, rather, I was looking for something new to do. And not that it's new, but because I've played it before and it's not a new game. But I jumped into Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Stadia. And I got to say, it looks absolutely beautiful running, streaming from Google's data center. It looks better. I played it on PlayStation 4. It looks much better than it did on my PlayStation 4. And the best part is the load times are non-existent. So there was a bug playing, or I guess not a bug, but it was a feature, we'll say, of Assassin's Creed Odyssey when you played on PlayStation 4. If you took control of your Eagle and sent your Eagle scouting too far away, when you hit the back button to unscout your Eagle, it would sometimes take like 45 seconds to reload the area of the game that your character was standing in. That doesn't happen on Stadia.
So because I haven't played the game, I'm assuming you scout areas out by controlling an eagle and he flies away from you, right?
Yeah, so you can control his flight path. You can kind of you can zoom in, you can go up and down or whatever. But if you're playing on console, or at least when I was playing on console, if you got too far away from where your character was standing, I guess it needs memory, so it starts deallocating all that stuff where you're standing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you hit the back button to immediately take control of your character again, if you were too far away, it would take like 45 seconds to reload in some of that stuff. It doesn't happen on Stadia, at least not that I've been able to make happen. I flew pretty darn far away just to test it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this is next gen, next gen, because there's no load times. It was a hell of a lot of fun. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks really good. I bought it when it was on sale. And this was one of the games that had microtransactions built into it, where you could get cheats. Essentially, you could get 1.5 or half 50% more experience, 50% more money, and then a whole bunch of other of things like map stuff and whatever. But you have to buy them with in-game currency, or premium currency, not the in-game currency. And so I'm playing the game and I'm like, well, you know what? I played this before. I kind of really want 50% more experience. So 2 buttons later, I bought a premium currency pack and bought the booster packs that I wanted. And I'm like, okay, Stadia really makes it too easy, because it's like literally I hit the button a couple times on my Chromecast and I spent $25 and boosted my game. And it's like, okay, that was way too easy. So I guess there's some bonuses and some negatives with Stadia.
That's hilarious. So people in chat are saying, are you going to talk about the new announcement? We'll get there. Trust me, we will get there. I promise.
Yeah.
So I've been playing Octopath. Square Enix sent a review copy of that game to me to check out, and I'm having an absolute blast with it. I've been recording myself playing it like a Let's Play series. Each episode's about 20 minutes to a half an hour, and I've already got like 9 episodes recorded, and so I'm going to slowly be dropping those out as time goes on. But I'm having a blast with that game, and look forward to me talking about it a whole bunch in the future. I've also been playing Get Packed, and I have to say this because my Discord was making fun of me. It is well known that I am not a fan of Monopoly as a game. Not necessarily the Stadia version, or any video game version, just that particular board game I'm not a fan of. But Ubisoft sent a review copy of it to me. Unfortunately, it happened after Lloyd had already purchased his, and I would have been like, well, I could give this to Lloyd, but Lloyd had already purchased it, so I was like, all right, I'll check it out. I'll play it with my family. So last night, we were downstairs, we were playing it, and somebody saw me online playing Monopoly, and so then they screenshotted it, and in the Discord, which you can join over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord, a while back, I had made these two channels in the Discord. Monopoly is awesome and Monopoly is terrible. And I said, whichever one gets more something, I can't remember, more people saying something in it, that's the channel that gets to stay, and the other one is banished forever. And the Monopoly is awesome channel is the one that won. So it has more people, like more people wanted, like more people like Monopoly than hated, apparently, in our Discord. So I had to get rid of the other one, and then sure enough, I muted that channel because I didn't really care about Monopoly. I muted that channel so I couldn't see it, and then somebody in our mod chat for the Discord sent me a message. They said, "Bill, you've been found out," and then they linked, and I clicked it, and it took me to that channel. And then one of my mod team has pinned the screenshot of me playing Monopoly in the Discord, and I was just like, "Oh man." So Lloyd and I are going to talk about Monopoly, but not during the show today because there's just too much. And the same with Get Packed. We're going to talk about that, but not too much during the show. But since that's the game that we both played this week, like we'll do a really, really quick hit on this. What do you think of Get Packed so far?
I'm enjoying it. I'm liking the physics. I'm liking the control. Each trigger kind of controls a hand. That's been a lot of fun. I find it I find it a little bit janky in some areas, and I think that's kind of the point. It's more like a what Octodad kind of thing, where your lack of control is part of the fun of doing what you're doing. I'm a little surprised at the lack of content in the game, though. Just the number of levels seems a little bit small. That said, I haven't unlocked all of them, so maybe it's not that small. Maybe getting to some of the advanced ones does take a little bit of time. But that, to me, that's the only thing that I'm a little bit hesitant about with the game. Although in the menu it says that there are more levels coming soon, so maybe this was part of the plan. They're going to have a steady trickle of new content coming to the game. But the game itself, it's been fun. As I said, just the insanity of not being able to control things, or stepping out in front of a car and getting knocked down, and or trapping Bill in the back of a moving truck accidentally on purpose. That there's a lot of fun to be had there. Especially if you're on voice chat and you're yelling at your co-op partner lovingly. That is a lot of fun with this game.
Yeah, Lloyd and I did a video where he and I were playing Get Packed together, so make sure you check that out if you haven't already. I think it's a really fun game. My biggest gripe with it so far is that, like, I went to play online, and so I just filled with random people, and it worked. I didn't even have to wait very long. It filled with random people, and then it just keeps taking me back to the same levels because they haven't gotten as far in the game as I have, and I just wish it would say, all right, it doesn't matter what you've done already. Let everybody pick a level. Like, I've seen this in a lot of games where you have all of these different levels, and then everybody gets to just say, this is the one I want, and then have it randomize which one between those, and show us that process, so I don't feel like I'm not confused why, okay, I just did, like, the vampire level, and then it took me to the one with the giant slide, and then it took me back to the vampire level again. What is, like, I can't figure out what's going on with that. But Lloyd and I will talk more about that in the future. I'm enjoying it. I think it's a really fun game, and it's perfect if you're playing with people over voice chat, or I would assume locally. We haven't played it locally here in my house at all, because we don't have bunches of Stadia controllers laying around. But I think it's a good game so far. All right, you ready for the news, man?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
All right. The first thing of the news, obviously, is that there was a Stadia Connect this week, and I have to say that was on Tuesday, It doesn't that feel like forever ago?
It does. Like, time is so weird. It's so weird these days. But yeah, it does feel like it was like a couple weeks ago, and we've already talked about it, and it's in the past. But no, it was this week.
It was like I was putting together the show notes this morning, and I was like, have we had a podcast since the Connect came out? Because it feels like it was forever ago. But no, it was this week. It was on Tuesday. So Stadia posted basically a recap of it on their community.stadia.com. And so let's go through the big parts. All right.
Sure.
The big parts of this. So PUBG, have you played that at all?
I have not on Stadia.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of PUBG. I'm going to play it just so I can compare my PlayStation experience with I think I played it on Xbox, my Xbox experience with Stadia. But I have not. I have claimed it, but I haven't played it.
I claim stuff like instantaneously every time. I played like 3 matches. I don't like that game.
Yeah.
I haven't played it on PC or on whatever other places it is. So I don't know if this is par for the course. I know it's like a 3-year-old game or whatever. Man, it just looks awful. Like the graphics they do not look very good. Like even a little. I know that they were going for realism, and whenever you go for realism at the time, that always comes back to bite you later on because it just doesn't hold up. Go ahead.
It's definitely a game that it was based on another game. So it was a mod essentially of another game. Back when it was being developed, that it was pretty photoreal, or not photoreal, but it was very realistic looking. But things evolved and the game couldn't keep up with it. And it's since been reworked and all that stuff since the original version of it came out. But it is an older game, and even how sparse the game is, trying to get it, like when it first came to Xbox, it was running at like 10 frames a second. Like it was a beast to optimize and get working. So I think it's any issues with the game have to do with the old engine that they were using, and updates haven't really increased some of that playability much, or the beauty of the game much. But there's still a large segment of the population that really loves PUBG, which is great. I've played it. I was a Fortnite guy. I loved how easy it was to drop in and play a Fortnite game. But when I look at my friends list on Stadia, and I have like 60 people online playing games, there's a large portion of them that are online playing PUBG. So this was a good get for Stadia, I think.
Oh, I agree. Look, I may not like the game, but that doesn't mean I don't think it should be on the platform. There's a lot of games on the platform that I don't care about, and that's perfectly fine. Not every game has to be for me. And there's far too often I see people complain about, I'm never going to play this game, so it shouldn't be on Stadia. And to those people, I say, what is your problem? Just don't play it. Why would you not want somebody else to have a game that they want on a platform? You know what I mean? So I'm looking at my my friends list right now. There's 44 online, and as I'm scrolling through, there's PUBG, there's PUBG, there's PUBG, there's PUBG. Yeah, there's a bunch of people playing PUBG right now. So it's definitely a popular game, and I think that that's a great get for Stadia, just like you said. Go ahead. You were about to say something.
I was going to say Consigno in the chat room says console people love that it's 60 frames a second on Stadia, and PC people love that there's no cheating on it, which is one of the big things. Like if you watch like YouTube clips, there's always people using aimbots if they're playing the PC version of PUBG. That is not a possibility on Stadia, which is another big win for PUBG on Stadia.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, they say that there's no way to cheat, and because the hardware is not in your possession, that makes sense. But I think eventually people will find a way to cheat by using some kind of, I don't know, analysis that's happening on Chrome that watches things. Do you think it's possible? You're a developer.
I don't think so, because all it's sending is the video data. So it's not sending, because what happens, to get into the weeds a little bit, for some of the aimbots that were happening for other games, like say Halo. Basically what happens is the server is sending you the info of everybody that's on the board, because if you move around a corner, you need to be able to see that Bill is over here behind this tree. So you know where everybody is, even though you can't see where everybody is. So the aimbots know that, and that's how you can shoot people through walls and things like that. If all that Stadia is doing is sending you the video frame of what you're currently seeing, you don't know where anybody else is. So there's no other way to do aimbots. Maybe there's going to be a way that if, say, all the enemies are always red, maybe there'll be some way that it can, using Chrome, can automatically target anything that's always red using like a Chrome plugin. But I don't know. I don't know if that would even be something that would be usable down the road. But the standard aimbots that we have, it's not going to be the same, and if they do happen, it's going to be it's not going to be as bad as knowing where everybody is on the map and knowing that they're behind this wall, so you can shoot them through the wall.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. Good to know. All right, what else did they talk about on for the Connect? Well, they mentioned the other games that we're getting for free in May,
Yeah.
which is Zombie Army 4.
Yep.
Which I have not played yet, and the Turing Test, which I have not played yet. Did you play either of those yet?
Zombie Army 4 is what I'm going to be playing right after doing this show.
Okay. So then I guess what I will do is I will record some Turing tests so that we can post like a first look of that. You also, what else?
SteamWorld Heist as well. SteamWorld Heist.
SteamWorld Heist. Yeah, I kept seeing SteamWorld Dig here, and that was confusing me. Yeah, SteamWorld Heist is the other one. So 3 games in May. That is really surprising that they're giving us 3 games.
And even better, if you count the little oblong rectangles on the screen, that means you get 12 games as a Pro member, just for signing up for Pro, which you don't even have to pay for right now. You get it for free. So pretty darn good deal from Stadia.
That is a really good deal. 12 games for $0.
Yep.
Why would anybody say no to that? I'm sure that there's still people that will say no to that, but that's awesome. It's a really good way to hit the ground running with your library. You start you sign up, and instantly you have a bunch of games to play. And if you look at this, there's a really good variety of games to play. You've got shooters, you've got like I don't really know what the Turing Test is anyway. I assume it's like a puzzle kind of game.
Puzzle game, yep.
You've got a Metroidvania, you've got a local multiplayer and online multiplayer weirdness with Spitlings, you've got a racing game, you've got another puzzle game with stacks on stacks on stacks, you've got a really cool adventure game with Guilt. That's a fantastic lineup of a bunch of free stuff. I just can't imagine anybody saying no to that, because they're just so awesome. And you get these for 2 full months, which is crazy.
Remember when we were first talking about Stadia, and they said, yeah, you'd get a game every couple months or so. That obviously is not the case anymore. People are like, oh, Stadia sucks. You're only going to get 1 free game for every couple months. Nope. 12 free games. This is what Stadia is, and it doesn't mean that it's going to keep up like this forever, but I would think that this is working well for Google, and they're probably going to keep a large number of games in the free game library, just to encourage people to keep paying for Pro once the free 2 months are over.
Yeah, it's weird, because we thought, like, there's been many times where we've said they can't keep giving us free games because they're running out of games to give us, because as much as we're fans of Stadia, the library is small. And I mean, it's growing, and it seems to be growing at a pretty good clip, but the library is small, and they're going to be like, everything's going to be free eventually. That's what it felt like for a while.
Sure.
Go ahead.
And then in May, they add 3 new games and give them away for free with PUBG, Turing Tests, and Zombie Army 4. It's like, okay, well, maybe they can keep giving us games. They just keep adding games and then giving them away, and adding them, bringing them over, and cutting deals with the developers and publishers to get those games into people's libraries. It's such a great deal.
And then another thing that they mentioned in the Connect was Octopath Traveler and Get Packed were like available now. We kind of already talked about those, and we'll go into those in more detail at another time. And then EA comes to Stadia. This is huge, absolutely huge.
Yep.
They got Jedi Fallen Order, Madden, and FIFA. Now, Madden and FIFA, they say that they're coming this winter.
Yep.
And then you said when we first talked about this, you said that it was that these are games that are mostly how did you phrase like they usually come out in the fall, right?
Usually around fall. But who knows if that's going to actually happen this year because of the way that COVID is forcing teams to not play. It's going to push seasons. So maybe they're planning to come out in winter, or because there's a new console generation, maybe they're waiting to come out on the new consoles as well. So maybe this will be day and date on Stadia. I don't think so. I think it's going to come out later on Stadia, but we'll have to wait and see. It's great news anyway, because there's so many people that play FIFA and Madden. Those are huge games for EA. And then having them on Stadia is great because you'll be able to play them on whatever device you have in front of you.
You know, there's something I wonder if they will come out at, like, let's imagine that they're not delayed because of COVID, but they come out at their regular release window, and we'll say Madden comes out in the fall. The game is released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and then when Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 launch in Christmas time, they launch on there and Stadia at the same time, because all of the next gen consoles together. And Stadia is very much next gen, if you ask me.
100%. Yeah, that would be a great way for them to do it for sure.
Yeah. So then we've got a bunch of new pro deals. I'm not going to list off all of them. If you look through all of these, is there anything in here that jumps out at you as, oh, you got to check this out?
Well, Rage 2 is half off again, so it's available for $30, and also Monopoly is 75% off, so down from $40 to $10. And I bought it to do the first look and to throw a bunch of jokes about Bill in the video. That's really why I spent my $10, and I got my $10 worth, even if I never play it again. So it's a pretty decent deal for $10.
Yeah, and it works well on everybody sitting around in the living room, and you got it up on the TV, and you just hand the controller around. I love that they added that in, that you could just pass around just one controller, and here you go, roll the dice, do your thing. It's pretty cool like that. Let's see. In this list, the deal that I ended up taking advantage of was the Division 2. I bought that a couple days ago. It's 67% off right now. That's not even a pro, or no, that is a pro deal, but that's like an older pro deal. And I kept putting it off and saying, I'm not going to get it yet. I'm not going to get it yet. I don't need it right now. I've got all these other games. And then I was watching a friend of mine stream it on his Twitch channel, and I was like, man, this game looks really good. I'm gonna pick this up. And even if I'm not gonna play it right now, 67% off. I wanted to get it now while it was cheap, because
for sure.
I'm looking forward to playing that. Then they have new deals for everyone. Now I have goldfish memory. I can't remember things. I forget all the time. So let me ask you, Lloyd.
Yep.
Is this the first time that we've had deals that have not been only for pro subscribers?
It's funny because I was going to ask you the exact same thing. This is the first time that I can remember having a sale on a game that wasn't tied to a pro. I can't think of any other time that happened. So possibly, yes. I'm sure the chat will keep us honest and let us know. But I believe that this is the first time that it was a non-pro deal, which is that's great. That means that this is going to be coming now in the future as these games are on sale, and something like Monopoly is $20 or $10 if you have pro. So you buy your pro subscription for $10, it costs you the same amount of money as buying Monopoly at its 50% off price, and then you get all these other games. So they can start having cost benefits for things like that. CMR is saying Destiny 2 had a non-pro sale. That's right, because of people coming off of the Founders Pack. They sold it for a cheap price just so people could keep playing Destiny 2. That's right.
That feels like...
That's a weird one-off thing, though, I think.
Yeah, that feels like something that they did in reaction to a thing, not like, hey, these are games that just happen to be on sale right now. Oh, by the way, it's a better discount if you're a pro subscriber. I think that's great. The other platforms do this. This is definitely something that needs to happen. One of the games in here that is on sale that I'm going to call out, I know it's only 10% off, but Darksiders Genesis is a phenomenal game. It plays really, really well on Google Stadia, and I had an absolute blast playing through that. I loved Darksiders Genesis, even though it was not the kind of game that I thought it was going to be. It turned out to be really more of an action game than an action RPG, but I had so much fun with it. It's only 10% off, but it's still a fantastic game. And if you want to get 20% off, then that's it. That's like one of those examples where it's 10% off for everybody, and then for pro subscribers, it's 20% off. I think it's awesome. Anything else that you want to talk about from the Kinect?
No, just the fact that the Kinect itself, we talked about it in our breakdown video, but the messaging has changed. It's now gaming for everyone, instant play, no downloads, no patching, no mention of 4K, no mention of 60 frames a second. Google has changed their messaging, and it is for the better. And I love this. I love the new marketing slogans that they have. So, congratulations, Google. I think you finally turned a corner in your marketing, which is a really great thing.
Yes, and you can. I mean, people can probably say it's probably because Bill and Lloyd kept saying it. What do you think?
Maybe.
Probably
Yeah, I
not.
think they listen to us.
They do listen, but we're not. We don't factor into the decisions they make. I was making a joke.
No.
All right.
Exactly.
So the thing that a lot of people are excited about this week, actually, we've been going for about a half hour. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll tell you why everybody's excited about something that was not in the Kinect. Stick around, everyone.
Buy a ColecoVision and a Coleco game cartridge by November 15th. We'll send you a free Cabbage Patch Kid by Christmas.
Now, bring the arcade experience home because your vision is our vision. ColecoVision.
All right, I'm going to edit that. I hate that one. Oh, fix that, please. Please fix that, Go XLR. All right, so I'll edit that part out. Here we go. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is the thing that everybody's excited about. And when you were talking earlier about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, chat was like, are you guys going to talk about Valhalla? Because first off, that cinematic looks awesome. But I'm gonna say something here, and instantly everybody's gonna send rage things at me in chat. So I'm ready for this. Here we go.
I'm getting ready to boo you.
I've never played an Assassin's Creed game.
Ooh.
Ever. I know.
Ooh.
All right, send all your boos. So I'm handing this over to Lloyd. He's full screen camera right now. Lloyd, tell people explain why everybody's excited for this. And I also am excited because it looks good.
Well, the setting, being able to play in the world of Vikings and kind of like with Odin and all this other stuff that was in the trailer, personally makes me really excited because I love Vikings. I love the thought of being a Viking. You're not going to be more than one person. But just the trailer itself, it shows that the assassins were around. But it didn't really show it right till the end of the video, where his hidden blade came out to assassinate someone. So it seems like this may be a little bit of a different take on your standard Assassin's Creed. I've played them all. I've played from Assassin's Creed 1 and loved it all the way up to Odyssey. I've played it now on a couple different platforms. Odyssey is way better than Assassin's Creed 1 was. The original games were basically run around, tick things off a map, assassinate the final guy, game over. And they also had a lot of play where you're in the real world and also in the Assassin's Creed world. Odyssey changed that a lot, where it's now an RPG. So your items level up, or your items have levels rather. As you level up, you get access to other items. There's 1,000 different bits of content around the map. There's a bunch of different areas on the map as well. So Odyssey has easily 100 hours worth of content in it, where the first games were like 20, 30 hour games. And the problem back in the day was they were coming out with Assassin's Creed every single year. And now it's multiple years between Assassin's Creed. They can really spend the time developing a really awesome world to explore. And when I found out that there's going to be like a a Viking settlement mode in this game where you can actually start a settlement and keep track of it and help it out and go and raid resources for it. It reminds me a little bit about what you do in Red Dead Redemption, which then makes me really excited about where this game is going to go. So Odyssey is fantastic. If you want to play a really good Assassin's Creed, it's on sale regularly on Stadia, where you can get it for a really decent price, and that'll give you a nice taste for what Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to be. I love Vikings, and I just cannot wait to jump into this world and explore just a whole other setting from any other Assassin's Creed. I'm really excited for it.
So let me ask a question. Are they still doing that thing that they did in the older ones where you are like going into virtual reality mode to relive your people's past or whatever? They still do that in like Odyssey?
Yeah, so you at the start of the game you jump right into it and you're exploring the bloodlines. So basically the story behind Assassin's Creed, for people that don't know, is that they've developed this company called Asturgo in the game has developed a way to look at your DNA, and there's memories of your ancestors that are encoded in your DNA. So you go into you go into the Animus. It reads your DNA and you're reliving memories that your ancestors did, and what they're trying to do is find the assassins, the Templars, if depending on the game that you are, and then also the original or the I think what are they? I think they were called the Originals in one game, and they're called something else in another game, which is a race of beings that existed before everybody else. So you're basically looking at memories that are in your DNA. So in previous games, you would do a mission in the Animus, and then you'd come out and you'd do a mission in the real world, and you'd go and tappy tap on your keyboard and try to break into someone's office. There's less of that in modern games, but there's still a little bit of what's happening here in the game. So it's fantastic. I love the world. I love the storyline beyond or in the game, but beyond that, the fact that the modern games are having less interaction in the real world and more just inside the Animus makes them much faster and easier just to lose yourself in, because you're not constantly being pulled out of that experience to go do something in the real world, which was one of the complaints for some of the older Assassin's Creeds. All
right. Do you wish that they would just get rid of the real world aspect of the game?
No, because I love the story that has been running from the first game till this one, and the Animus and all the entities that are around it are there's a storyline there, and you can ignore it if you don't like it, because especially in Odyssey, there's not much time that's spent outside of the Animus. But I love that it's there, and it gives you like little story ticks. And I'm sure down the road, Assassin's Creed 40, there's going to be some big payoff where all this stuff is going to come together. But yeah, I like that it's there.
So as the weirdo who has not played any Assassin's Creed games, if I were to jump in with Valhalla or even Odyssey, because I know that you love that game, would I be like, what the hell is going on? Are there a bunch of references that I'm not going to understand, or do they do a good job compartmentalizing it?
They do a really good job compartmentalizing. Each game is its own experience. Each story tells its own thing. The character that you play, well, that's not true, because some of the other earlier ones you were Ezio for a while, and you were some other characters from multiple games. But in this one, it's like every game that you play is its own compartmentalized story, and the real world stuff happens behind the scenes, and whether you choose to pay attention to that, you don't really have to. But I would say jump in with Odyssey. It's by far the best game in the series, and you can basically spend, like I said, 100 hours just exploring the world. It's one of those games like Breath of the Wild, where if you can climb to the top of a mountain and get up there somehow, there's going to be something there. There's going to be a little bit of content. There's going to be a little treasure chest or a little box or something to collect. It might not change your game and make you overpowered, but it's the fact that the developers thought far enough ahead to put something in a place where they think that people will finally find a way to get up there. So game design like that, I really dig. And you can even go exploring underwater, and there'll be treasure chests and things to loot under the water. Like there's so much content in this game. I just can't imagine the amount of people that it took to just add random content that has nothing to do with the story or any of the storylines or any of the quests, it just there for people to find. It's definitely a game that shows that the developers that are working on it love the world, they love what they do, and it's just a joy just to run around and explore and just be part of the worlds that you're exploring.
Well, perhaps next time it goes on sale, I will pick it up, but I'm going to wait because I've got tons to play right now.
Yep.
All right. So let's talk about some Stadia features. We've been talking a lot about games. Let's talk about a Stadia feature. Really, I haven't used very much. My phone is an iPhone, so I'm an iPhone guy. I know you're an iPhone guy as well. And of course, a lot of people here are very big fans of Google, so they're all going to be like, boo. And this is the second time that we've been booed today, but that's okay. I don't mind. So I can't take advantage of this part. I do have a Chromebook, but Stadia, I don't know why I said that, but I almost never use my Chromebook. It sits over there on the other, I used to bring it to work every day, but then when I got a keyboard for my iPad, I just bring my iPad. So do you ever use a Chromebook at all?
No, never. My kids use them at school, and I keep almost buying them when they're like certain Chromebooks are on sale for like $150, like being blown out. I keep wanting to buy a couple of them just for the kids to do schoolwork on. But yeah, no, I have a really expensive work laptop, and I have a couple other machines in the house, so I don't need to buy a cheaper Chromebook just to have around the house for myself. So yeah, no.
Yeah, we have Chromebooks around the house for the kids to do their schoolwork on, which is awesome. And I've used Chromebooks before. Chromebooks are fantastic for just doing web browsing stuff, and it's awesome that you can play Stadia on it. But there's a new feature that I don't really get to take advantage of, and that's that the Google Assistant can now launch Stadia games directly on Android and Chromebooks. Right now, if you have a Chromebook, you can say, hey, keyword, do this, and it will, look things up or whatever. And it will launch a game for you, which is awesome. You can say, hey, keyword, play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it will launch on your Chromebook. It will also launch if you've got Android phones, apparently, which is really, really cool. So I'm curious if there are people out there who are using that very much. Like right now, that's the extent of the use of the Google Assistant with Stadia. I know that last year at GDC, they showed off, hey, look, how do I get past this level? And then they showed in Tomb Raider how it would go and find a YouTube video that figured out where you were in the level and then showed you a solution based on where you were, which is awesome. And I'm looking forward to that feature actually coming. I anticipate that will only happen on games that have like the hooks built into it where they say, okay, well, if they say it at this point, this is it marks this part of the game as, it has like a number. And then if you've played it on Google Stadia, then it's probably, because they're, if maybe somebody captured it, it tags it with that number or something, and then it can go find a tag and then match them up or something. I don't know how it's going to work, but I look forward to that working. I'm curious how many people out there are using the Google Assistant to play Stadia. I only do it every once in a while. Like if I just say, hey, I want to play this on my TV, and 9 times out of 10, I get the wording wrong. And because I get the wording wrong, it like brings up a YouTube channel or something because I haven't said exactly the right phrase. Do you ever use Google Assistant to start stuff?
I do every once in a while.
Just start Stadia.
Yeah, it's like, okay, keyword start Borderlands 3 on basement TV, and it'll start up, and then I go grab a cup of coffee or whatever I'm doing, and by the time I come back, it's ready and playable. So I use that every once in a while. Not as much as I should probably, because it's just a super easy way of getting the game loaded. But yeah, this is really cool because if you on a Chromebook, if you say okay, play Destiny 2, it will just start the game. It doesn't bring you to the normal Stadia UI where you look at the game list and then the game starts. So it's a really quick way for people that have a Chromebook to jump right into the game, which is really great. If I had a Chromebook, I would be using this to start my games for sure.
Yeah. I think it's cool. My brain wants to say play this game, and that's
yeah.
why it goes to YouTube. So I have to think. I have
Exactly.
to remember to say start. But
That's
I
right.
use the Google Assistant all the time at the house. Like we'll say, hey, play. My wife and I have been watching the show called Afterlife on Netflix. It's awesome, by the way. Ricky Gervais is the writer and director and star of it. But we just say, hey, keyword, play Afterlife on the bedroom TV, and it comes up and we watch it. Or, the kids are coming up the stairs. We say, hey, keyword, pause, and it pauses. So I use the
Nice.
Google Assistant all the time. I just never use it for Stadia. I like that they're adding more accessibility with that. And I look forward to getting more stuff with the Assistant. Now, speaking of features, Mortal Sloth in chat says, have you used the game invite link via profile image? It gives you a custom link to let people jump into your game. When that feature, that feature's been around since the game, or since Stadia first came out. That's always been a thing where you could just invite people with a link, but you can only do it on Chrome. And I never play on Chrome. I'm always playing on Chromecast, so
Right.
I don't really use that. However, I recently was I wanted to get a link in order to, like, right now you can get or since Stadia has come out, you have been able to go out, get a link, and then take that link and then put it in the description of the YouTube channel or something, and then people could click on that and it would start the game for them. So I loaded up Chrome in order to do that. And what I did notice when I was doing that, because if you look at our show notes, it's got links to the games that we've been playing. What I did notice is I've got 4K now almost every time on Chrome, and
Right.
that was something that was definitely not happening before. So I think that that's awesome. Once we get wireless play, I might utilize that more often. But right now, I just use the Chromecast, and because I use the Chromecast, I can't take advantage of that because right now Google does not have feature parity across all of the different ways that you can play. So the interface is slightly different on Chromecast than it is on Chrome. And I would love to be able to just use my phone and send somebody a link that for the game that I'm playing on my Chromecast, but I can't. And so I don't think that that's going to get used as much as it could.
Yeah,
And Lloyd's
exactly.
typing. I thought you were getting ready to say something. I'm sorry.
No, getting ready to type.
Okay. All right, let's move on to another feature that I think a lot of people are going to be very excited about. This one comes to us from 9 to 5 Google. A lot of 9 to 5 Google stuff today. They get a lot of this stuff because they pick apart the APK that comes out. And I don't like the headline. The headline is Stadia to become Google's next messaging app, which kind of makes people think, wait, I'm going to use Stadia to talk to my mom? No, it just means that you're going to be able to message people in Stadia, which is a thing in all, I almost said all gaming platforms, but you can't do it on Nintendo. But here's what they found in their APK teardown. There is a message history panel title labeled text chat. There is a batch get chat messages. There is a chat messages link. There is a chat messages model. There's a bunch of stuff about chat messages. This is, I can't believe that they launched without chat, without text chat, being able to send a message to somebody. What do you think about this, Lloyd?
I think it's good. I want the UI to be very like out of the way. I want to be able to pull up my text chats at any point, but not have them like make my screen super dirty, like covered in chat bubbles if it's a really chatty group of people. I'm excited for it though, and I love that there's also a new privacy setting where you can say who can send you chat messages. So if you want only your friends or no one to send you chat messages, you can turn that right off, which is great. So you're not going to join a random match and then get spammed with hateful messages because you can just filter that stuff out if you want.
Right. I'm a little worried about the privacy setting that you're talking about, only for people like you and me who are content creators around Stadia, and we have huge lists of friends. Like I would really like it if Google would give us a way to say these are the people. Like, look, I
Best
love
friends.
best friends or super friends or whatever it is that you want to call them.
Yep.
This is the group of people that I will actually text chat with, and these are the people that I will just play a game with. And there's a difference between those, because as somebody who has a giant friends list like you and I do, that quickly becomes kind of overwhelming. I constantly get invites to games that I'm not even playing all the
Yep.
time. And I think that part of that is not the fault of the people who are sending me messages, or not messages, but invites. It's partly because when you're looking at it, it doesn't show what the person is playing. So, you're playing Doom Eternal and you bring up you're like, oh, I'm going to invite somebody to play. Oh, look, Bill's online. Well, Bill's playing Get Packed right now, and it doesn't show you that. So, like, you just bring it up and you're like, all right, well, I'm going to invite Bill. Oh, I'm busy playing some other game. So it would also be nice if Google would change the UI to say, only if you're going to invite people, only invite people that are playing those games. That's just, I think that the UI has some work to do overall, but I don't think it's a bad UI. I just think it definitely needs some work.
Sure. Yeah, they need to look at what other companies are doing. Like what Xbox has always been the best for messaging and parties and those systems. PlayStation does a decent job, but Xbox, it's definitely the best in my opinion
And
of messaging and party chat and stuff like that.
right. JB in chat says, funny, I can see what you're playing in the app. And yes, you can. But if you go into a game that you're playing and you say invite somebody and you hit that invite button, it just brings up a list of like a list of your friends. And it's not even alphabetical. So like I was streaming Get Packed the other day and people in chat were like, I want to join. And I couldn't find them in my friends list. They're like, I can see that you're playing right now, Bill. So we must be friends. But I couldn't find them because my list of friends was too long and it wasn't in alphabetical order. And it was really I don't know. The whole friends list needs to be fixed.
And each game does it differently. Like when you go into Borderlands, and you go into kind of like the social part of Borderlands, I can see everybody that is online, and it just says they don't have a character selected.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so do they have the game? Can I invite them? Like, what's happening here? So there needs to be, I guess the game developers have to do some work along with Google to get this right.
Absolutely. All right. We've got one more story. I think it's one more story for today. Yeah, one more story for today, and because we're already getting long. It says here, Google plans to bring a new Chromecast Ultra based on Android TV with a remote. Do you use Chromecasts in your house, Lloyd?
No, I just use the one that's on this monitor so I can play Stadia. I have Apple TVs on every television in the house because all my content was on iTunes. So Chromecast was never something that I got into.
Okay. We have Chromecasts. We also have Apple TVs, but we also have Chromecasts because, the first time I got one because they were super cheap, right? And Apple TVs were expensive. And then then I got another one when I got my Stadia Founders Edition. And then I was like, well, now we've just got one TV that doesn't have it. So I'm just going to buy another one and put it on that TV. So now we have an Apple TV on all of our TVs, which is because we have a lot of stuff that we bought through iTunes. But we also have a Chromecast, and that means we can play Stadia on any screen, which is awesome. One of my biggest complaints about Chromecast is that you have to use your phone or you have to use the Google Assistant. The Google Assistant makes things much easier, but for the most part, you got to use the phone. And that means that it's kind of a pain. But Android TV has a remote, and so that means that the new Chromecast might have a remote. Here's why I'm talking about it on a Stadia show. Do we think that there will be anything in this that is not already in like any features, any Stadia style features that are not already in the Chromecasts that we got that shipped with the Founders Edition?
I don't think so. I would highly doubt it. Someone asked me a question on Twitter a while ago. Do you think the Chromecast that comes with Stadia is going to be usable at 8K? And it's like, well, no, I definitely don't think it's going to be usable at 8K just because of bandwidth concerns and the processor required to decode that stream. So maybe this one will have the potential to go up to 8K for newer TVs. I'm not sure on that though. That would, to me, that would be the only potential.
That would mean that it would, look, I'm not into HDMI standards and specs and all that stuff, but wouldn't that mean that it would have to have HDMI 1.2 or something? And wouldn't it need to be, I mean, 8K is very intensive. Them squeezing the stuff down to decode 8K into something that small, like, do you really think that's possible?
Potential, but I mean, it just need a faster GPU to do that. You need HDMI 2.1. I think
yeah,
it is,
I said 1.2.
8K.
That's what I meant.
I think it's 2.1. So I mean, that spec's been out there for a while, so wouldn't surprise me if it's there. I just think having that fast of an SoC in a small little device this early, when there really aren't 8K sets in the world. Yeah. I mean, they're really expensive, but it's not something that you would go to Best Buy and buy a $300 TV set that has 8K support on it yet. That will come, and then these devices will come down the road with 8K support, I would assume.
Now, one of our members in chat, Jem, is saying new Chromecast will most likely support AV1, which is a codec, while the Chromecast Ultimate does not support AV1. So that could mean that because right now they're using VP9, and I'm not up on codecs and stuff like that, but I'm assuming that AV1 is more, I don't want to say reliable. What's the word that I'm looking for, Lloyd?
Well, I know that AV1 is an open standard, which is nice. So it means that no third party body owns the rights to it, I believe. So that's going to be good. But if you ask me what the difference between VP9 and AV1 are, I don't know specifically what the differences are, what makes it better. Although it'll be a smaller data stream for a similar video to be displayed as, say, H.264.
Now,
so
sorry.
I was going to say it's just an evolution of what VP9 was.
Okay. And Random Noob is in chat is saying, and remember, this is coming from chat. We haven't verified this, but he says AV1 is the successor to VP9 and also has the support of Apple. And that's huge. So I wonder if VP9 is Google's current stopgap, and then they're going to move over to AV1 eventually. And they'll probably, what my guess is that will happen is they will detect, oh, you're on an old Chromecast Ultimate, we're going to send you a VP9 stream. Oh, you're on the new Chromecast with the remote, we're going to send you an AV1 stream. And the AV1 will, maybe it will have less latency, maybe it will use less data, whatever it is. I think that I think that this is good for more than just the fact that it will have a remote, and I won't have to use my phone in order to bring up a show or a game.
Yeah, I mean, that I got a Chromecast back when they were first offered. They were selling them for, I don't even remember what it was. It was like $15 or something. And I ordered one just to see what it was. And I got the box and I'm like, well, where the hell's the remote? Like, what is this thing? And then I had to read. I'm like, oh, I have to control everything on my phone? That's ridiculous. I'm never going to use this. And I didn't. I hooked it up once, did a stream from my browser, and then I never touched it again. So that's always been a little bit weird to me. But I know a lot of people don't like remotes. So using your phone is second nature for them. So everyone's a little different.
That's true. I use it. We use it all the time because we just yell at the robot on the shelf over there, and then the thing comes up on the screen. So it's awesome. All right, so that's all of the news stories for today. We're already almost to an hour, so we're gonna have to hit these crowd play things real quick. We had a lot of people send in ideas and things to talk about. First off, we had Paul at the very beginning of the show. They sent in a super chat and they said, "I hope you're great, guys. I love your content." Thank you very much for that. The cycling granddad. That's very specific. That sounds like an Animal Crossing. Like, what's the thing on your passport?
Nook Miles.
Well, no, my son has a.
What is? Well, I can't remember what they call it in the game, but yeah, it's like you can name yourself.
Yeah.
In the game using various words that you unlock.
Yeah. The cycling granddad sent in a super chat with no message. Thank you very much for that. Raven Anime became a superhero, I believe. It came up earlier. That's like the highest tier that you can, so thank you for that. Here we go. William Millard sent in a super chat. They said, "Is there anything you'd like to see in new hardware, such as a new controller or the next Chromecast?" Well, we just got done talking about the next Chromecast, but is there anything that you would like to see in maybe the next Stadia controller?
Not really. I'm happy with the Stadia controller. I love the fact that it's it's Wi-Fi. The one thing that I'd really love is not really so much to do with the controller, but more to do with features of Stadia. Would be just if I plug a headphone or headset into it, I only want the chat audio to come through the headset. I don't want all the game audio to come through the headset. So that's more of a software thing than a Stadia controller thing.
Yes, and I would like that too, because I would like to sometimes play with viewers and actually be able to talk to them. But if I'm streaming, I don't want what they're saying to come out on stream because I can't control what they're going to say. So that's another reason why I often don't play with viewers. Or if I do, I always turn voice chat off, which, I was playing Get Packed the other day and it kind of took all the fun out of it, because Get Packed, I really think you want to be on voice chat with somebody. Thank you very much for the question, William. Paul Roper became a member. Thank you for that. Ray Sherrod sent in a super chat. They said, "Octopath Traveler is awesome. Buy it." Now, you've played that before on Switch, right?
Yeah.
Did you finish it?
I did.
Okay.
I finished. I didn't finish everybody's story, though.
Oh, okay. I got a lot of people who were making comments in my Let's Play about the price of it. And I think it's for $50. I believe it's $50. I definitely think it's a game that, like, it's how many hours do you think you had in it?
Oh, geez, I don't even know. I mean, it's not a long game, but it's not a short game. So I would think you'd at least get a $1 an hour if you're gonna play through the whole game at that price, right? Yeah, it's a pretty meaty game, but it's not like it's not like a Final Fantasy, like a big Final Fantasy 12 or something like that can take like 50, 60, 70 hours to complete.
All right. Tom Slater sent in a super chat. They said, Wi-Fi 6. Will this will be big for some people. So do you think that it's possible that the new Chromecast that is rumored, by the way, that's just a rumor, will come with Wi-Fi 6?
I don't even know. To be honest, I haven't looked in. I think supporting any new standard with new hardware that comes out, or even standards that will be out shortly. I don't even know if there are many routers out there that support AX networks, which I believe that's what Wi-Fi 6 is 802.11 AX, I believe. I don't even know of any consumer-based routers, or many consumer-based routers that support it, other than like the $500-600 like killer gamer routers that are available. So yeah, I don't know if it supports it. If they can support the new spec, I mean, that's a great thing, and it makes it future proof for new routers that are going to be coming out over the next 1 to 5 years, say.
Yeah, I think that becomes more important way down the line, but I don't see it's a bad thing to include it now. Right now, it's not really necessary, because we can stream a 4K stream 60 frames per second no problem over current Wi-Fi standards. Using in the future, though, last year at GDC, they're up on stage and they had the sign behind them, 8K 120 frames per second. which is, that's pie in the sky crazy talk. Will it happen eventually? Absolutely. It will happen eventually. All right. People always want the bigger numbers, but right now it's not necessary. But if you're going to get that 120 frames per second, if you're going to get that 8K, I think you might like the data stream for that is going to be like insanely bigger.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Sukotronic sent in a super chat. Thank you very much for that with no comment. And that is it for all of those super chats and memberships. So thank you very much to everybody for sending those in. They really do help support the show. Anything else to talk about before we get out of here, Lloyd?
No, I just looked into the Octopath Traveler price, and it's $83.99 in Canada. So it's probably $59.99 in the States.
Is it? I thought it was $50 for some reason.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit cheaper, but yeah, $84. Yikes. I will not be double dipping on that one to play it again on Stadia. As much as I'd love to play through it again, I'll just fire it up on my Switch.
Yeah. I will say this. I don't have an eye for these things, so I don't notice the difference between 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second unless I'm looking at them side by side. Somebody had left a comment in mind that it looked better on Stadia than it did on Switch. And I asked, well, why is that? And they said, oh, the Switch was 30 frames per second and this is 60 frames per second. I have no idea if that's true or not. I think it looks fantastic. I'm having a blast with it. It's an awesome game.
It is.
All right.
It is a lot of fun.
Follow the show on Twitter at Stadiacast. Follow me on Twitter at RunJumpStomp. Follow Lloyd on Twitter at Dasme. That's DASME. Make sure to use that hashtag Stadiacast so that we can find your tweets. You can also join our Discord over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. And Lloyd has his own community Discord over at res.tv/Discord. The music that you are hearing right now is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. Check out their stuff at zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. Thank you to them for letting us use their music. Lloyd, have an awesome day, man.
Yeah, you too. Take it easy, everybody.
Oh, you know what? that little conversation that we just had. It was recorded though, so now I got to edit it. Oh man, that's okay. File save. How's it going? All right, good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. And yeah, in terms of Reactor, I'm not saying that 8K screens are not out there. I'm just saying the bulk of people, if they're going to go replace their TV right now and they're looking at getting a 60-inch TV, they're going to be getting a 4K one because they're like $400. They're not a couple $1,000s like the 8K sets. And there really isn't 8K content at all. Like I don't know of any 8K content that you can stream or play directly other than like a few test videos. And sure, you can upscale 4K or 1080p, but if I'm going to buy a new set, like the first thing I do is experience media at that resolution. And I don't think there's enough of that yet. So it's going to come for sure, but it's going to take a little bit of time before that's the bulk of TVs out there in the market.
Right, because people, especially now, like, millions of people don't have jobs. Right, they're not going to go out and buy 8K TVs because it's hard for people to justify it. You take that TV home and you hang it on the wall and you look at the 4K TV, it looks awesome. Like it looks really fantastic. Will 8K look better? I mean, a little. But not until you get a ridiculously huge TV. That's the problem, is in order to really get the benefits of an 8K TV, you need to have a huge TV in order to make it big enough that you would see the difference between them. At least that's how I feel about it. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I'm looking on Best Buy Canada, and the cheapest 8K TV right now is $4,300, and it's a 65-inch Samsung. So yeah, it's going to need to come down by they need to be 10% of what that price is before they're going to have mass market appeal. Not to say that you couldn't have it. People were buying 1080p screens back when tube TVs were what most people had. But I can remember seeing my first 1080p screen hanging in Future Shop, which used to be a store here in Canada before Best Buy bought them, and it was $25,000 for the first 1080p screen I've ever saw, and it looked really good, but not $25,000 good.
Yeah. We with the first HD TV that we bought a 720p TV, and that cost us, I think it was $1,500 at the time, which was like, and it wasn't even my idea. That was my wife's idea. We walked into Best Buy and she goes, "Let's get a new TV." And I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to argue with you."
Yes, dear. I'm going to be a good husband and say yes, dear.
And they had 1080p TVs there at the time, but they were really expensive. We could not afford them.
Yeah.
A 720p
exactly.
TV was $1,500, and today that's the 8K. That's like, it's just, it's not that it won't happen. It's just not going to happen soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're the outlier, Terza Reactor. Paying 8K for a television, there's fewer people that do that than will pay $800 for a television or $400 for a television.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be people like you that are on the bleeding edge, but then there's going to be trailing edge, which is where most of the sales happen, is trailing edge.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else that I missed in chat as it was flying by ridiculously fast with well over 150 people here?
I don't think so. We were over 200 for a chunk of time there, so that was really nice to see.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you could do us a favor and click that like button, that would be awesome. Appreciate it. Holy cow! I said that, it jumped by 10. You guys are fantastic. All I got to do is remember to ask people to do things, and they do it. Like, click the like button, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that stupid button down there."
It's an easy thing to do. It's an easy thing to click, and also an easy thing to forget. So it does make a difference, though, people. So thank you for doing that for us.
John says, in my opinion, HDR is bigger than 4K, or bigger deal than 4K. You know, as somebody who has played a game in both HDR and standard whatever DR, HDR blew me away the first time, because this screen in front of me is the first time that I tried to play a game that I was playing in standard, and then I switched over. With this screen that I'm looking at in front of me, and that was Elder Scrolls Online on my PS4. And I turned it on, and the colors were just so vibrant and insane, and it blew me away. And I have not played that game since, because I want to play on PC, because that's my better account, or that I have done more stuff in. But PC does not support HDR, so I think I agree with John that HDR is more important. Unfortunately, HDR is harder to get right.
Yeah, if well done HDR, like the first time I saw a game in HDR 1080p, it blew me away. And that's why I thought PlayStation adding HDR to their 1080p stream, or some games were HDR 1080p 60, was way better than supporting 4K at a blown up resolution, like a 1800p blown up to 4K or whatever. HDR gives you the best bang for your buck, because you don't need to upgrade your TV set if you already have HDR enabled. And as a game developer, it takes a lot less bandwidth than pushing up to 8K, or to 4K rather, for your geometry. So HDR looks fantastic. 4K HDR looks amazingly well. Like streaming videos on we did a Disney Plus movie yesterday, that new Pixar movie, Unbound or whatever. Yeah, I think it's Unbound. I think that's what it's called. We watched it in 4K HDR last night, and it's just so beautiful. Like, it just looks so damn good. But even 1080p with HDR on that TV looks really good.
Yeah. People in chat are saying that HDR doesn't look good on their TV. It depends. This is the same problem that we've been dealing with for ages with TVs. Is some TVs are better than others. I remember, getting, going out and buying an Xbox 360, which supported 1080p, but I hooked it up to a 720p screen. And then I would go to a friend's house, and they had a 1080p and it would look better. And I was like, how come mine looks so crappy compared to yours? Well, that's why, because I had a lower resolution. I was at 720p instead of 1080p. And the same thing's going to happen with, if you buy a better TV, the HDR is going to look better. And that's not the fault of Stadia or PlayStation or Microsoft or whatever. It's based on you buying a crappy TV, and not that you bought a crappy TV. Sorry, I'm just saying in general. And then the same thing happens when people are complaining that, oh, I bought Stadia, but it's a lag fest. Well, okay, how old is your router? Is your router like 15 years old or something? It's funny because a buddy of mine, now that we're all trapped in our houses, he's a teacher as well. And he was having problems with his internet, trying to do Google Meets with his students and stuff because his internet was so bad. So, he did what what a lot of good teachers would do. And he'd say, all right, I need to upgrade this clearly. So he got Spectrum to come out and they upgraded his internet. No improvement. He's paying for a much higher bandwidth, and he's not getting any faster results because he's on really crappy Wi-Fi. And so he sent me a text. I was like, well, you probably need to upgrade your router. And now everything's getting expensive because now he's got to upgrade his router and everything. And sure, there is a chance that you're going to buy, or not buy, but get Google Stadia, and it's not going to work very good for you. And that's why Lloyd and I have been saying for over a year, Stadia is not for everyone, and that's okay.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, upgrading your router from something that's 10 years old to something that even your like a modern one that your cable provider is giving you will be better than that 10-year-old or 8-year-old router. So yeah, and then if you take it the next step and get something that is even better, like an Arrow or Google Wi-Fi, you're going to have even better performance just by replacing that hardware.
Just outside of gaming in general, Google Wi-Fi, I adore Google Wi-Fi because it gives me such granular control. Like I go in to the list of devices from my phone and I can see what's connected. I can, like, I went in and I was like, okay, I'm going to name this my son's computer. I'm going to name this weird IP address as an actual thing. So now I can go in and I can be like, oh, okay, well, I need, it's dinner time. I can just say on my phone, I can just turn off the Wi-Fi to specific devices. And so every day, back when we went to Taekwondo, we can't do that right now. But every day when we would go to Taekwondo, the Wi-Fi would shut off at a certain point for my son's stuff, so that when it was time to go, he wouldn't be like, oh, well, I'm in a game. Well, sorry, you're not in a game anymore because the Wi-Fi shut off. At bedtime, all the Wi-Fi shuts off. So I know that my kids are going to sleep and not up looking at devices, because when I was a kid, I was up looking at screens when I should be sleeping. I was playing a video game on my Nintendo or watching Letterman when I should have been sleeping. And I can make it so that none of those things work. So I love Google Wi-Fi for that device. And any parents out there that are hearing this, trust me, it's awesome.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Dwemer's mad at me. He's like, "That's cold, Bill." No, it's not. It's easy because now it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Wi-Fi did it. Oh,
yeah, Brian H88 in the chat room says, "Just got a Netgear Nighthawk and now Stadia runs perfect." Yeah, like you could have okay internet. It's just a bad router is making Stadia not work well for you. So yeah, that's the thing with Stadia. Usually it's just you'd buy a console and the only issue would be your TV or the HDMI cable. And now it's router and your internet connection, and there's so many things in between. If you have a microwave that doesn't have good shielding and someone's microwaving something that has a lot of water in it, next thing you know, your Wi-Fi goes down. Like there's so many issues that other consoles don't have an issue with. But I don't know. I'm thankful. If you wire everything for Stadia, in my experience, it's been pretty darn solid.
Yeah, I have this room is all hardwired because I'm a streamer. So when we built this room, I made sure that everything was, I ran Cat 6 and all that stuff. In retrospect, I probably should have done Cat 7 or whatever we're up to now, but I didn't think of it. That's okay. It doesn't matter. The room across the hall, the bedroom, my wife and I would just use the Chromecast or Apple TV or whatever in there to watch a show, and that always worked fine. So I was always like, well, we don't need Ethernet in there. And we built both of these rooms at the same time, and I didn't run Ethernet to that room. And I wish that I had, just for future-proofing stuff. But at the same time, when I play Stadia games in that room across the hall, I don't have any problems. It works just fine. And that's using Wi-Fi and the Chromecast. It just works fine.
Yep, definitely.
All right. Anything else that you want to chat about before we get out of here?
I don't think so. I think that was good. Thanks everybody for coming to chat and chatting with us while we're doing the show. It always makes it fun when there's a couple hundred people here chatting with us and letting us know what your thoughts and opinions and experiences are. Makes the show that much better.
All right. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Later.